Yesterday, I was contacted by the lawyers for the Vikings. I'd been working with these lawyers, people I've known for a long time, over the past 7 months, working towards a resolution to Chris's allegations against Prefer, the special teams coach. The investigation has been ongoing since January. We've regularly met with the Vikings at least once a month to see how the investigation is going and to get updates on the investigation. Chris has made himself available on a number of occasions to be interviewed. When this first came out, when Chris's first allegations first came out in Deadspin, and the Vikings responded, the Vice President of Legal Affairs, Kevin Warren, made a statement to Sports Business News on January 6th of 2014, where Kevin said that we are committed to a full accounting and transparent process, leaving no stone unturned. Yesterday, I was apprised by the Vikings that they do not intend to make their investigation report available to either my client or me, but they do not intend to make it available to the general public. Now, I think this is a travesty because we have learned about what's in this report over time. We're familiar with with many of the findings of the report. And I just want to state here today, we do know that it has been corroborated that Prefer did in fact make the nuke the gay statement by witnesses. We know that Prefer in the investigation originally denied any knowledge of the statement. And when he was asked a second time, he again denied. But until it was corroborated by other witnesses, he finally relented and told the truth and admitted it. We also know that Chris's claims were corroborated by many different witnesses, and that this goes up to the highest ranks of Viking management. We understand that there is evidence in the record that would connect Rick Spielman to knowledge of Chris's reports and accusations against Prefer prior to Chris's renewal of his contract, clearly creating a connection in time between the decision to not renew his contract and his reporting to Les Pico, the player's representative, of Prefer's homophobic and bigoted statements. So at this point, we have no choice but to file a lawsuit against the Vikings, which we intend to do so shortly. We haven't decided exactly when. And in that lawsuit, the very first thing we will get in the request in the course of discovery will be the investigation report, and we will, to the extent we're able, make that public. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, for me, this really is just about, the Vikings said for 7 months that they were going to make this public, and to me that's important, because not only did I say that this is what happened, but this is something that happens in work environments across the country, and if we want to change that, then we need to know that it happens and how we can change it, and sweeping it under the rug and keeping the report private does not help us do that. So I think it's just important that everyone is able to see what's there. Yeah, it'll probably hurt. These things always do, but the only way we're ever going to fix it is if we acknowledge that and make changes, systematic changes, all the way through the organization, up through management, and say that we're not going to tolerate this kind of thing anymore. We're not going to tolerate our people being discriminated against. So, yeah, just hope they make it public.
One thing of concern to us is the Vikings are employers in the state of Minnesota. Like any other employer, the Vikings are required to follow anti-discrimination laws, anti-retaliation laws. They're not above the law, but they appear to be acting as though they're above the law because they refuse to accept accountability for their actions. They have refused to take responsibility and be accountable for the culture that's been created within the Minnesota Vikings that's been exposed by Chris. So, I mean, we're concerned because millions and hundreds of millions of dollars are being spent of taxpayer money, citizens of this state, for a new stadium. Tens of millions of dollars are going to be spent now to host the Super Bowl for the benefit of the Vikings. And what is this organization doing in exchange? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's taking the money, but it's not even being a responsible, law-abiding citizen. Any questions?
Yes, can I ask you specifically, what will you be suing for wrongful termination, a whistleblower, hostile work environment, and in what jurisdiction will you choose, federal or local?
We haven't decided venue, the number of claims that we're going to bring. There are facts that haven't been made public relating to religious discrimination, where Mr. Coach Prefer has made many comments on many occasions about Chris's being agnostic and that he'll go to hell because he doesn't believe in Jesus Christ, and many other comments. He'll go to hell with the gays. So we do have a religious discrimination claim. We have a claim under this human rights statute for sexual orientation discrimination because through his association and his activism for gay marriage, he would have coverage under that. He has claims for defamation because false statements have been made by Prefer and others within the Vikings organization. And we also have claims for tortious interference with contractual relations because his contract was inhibited. And potentially he was damaged as a result of Prefer engaging in conduct damaging the contractual relationship he had with the Vikings.
Were you guys surprised that the new Vikings coaching staff kept Prefer on? Most of the coaches are gone, but they kept special teams coach. Were you guys surprised by that?
It's a management decision. That's that's up to them.
Yeah, we were surprised. In fact, the day I heard it, I called their lawyers to find out what was going on. And they indicated that they just didn't want to make a change in that position at that time.
Clayton, it's always been implied that they were going to release this report once it was done.
It's more than implied. They said it.
Yeah.
Did they say yesterday that they're never, ever going to release it, or they're just not going to release it at this time?
They have indicated they do not have an intent to release the report to us or to the public. Now, I read in the newspaper this morning that their statement was that at this time, but they may in the future. So I don't know where we're at, but I know they're not willing to provide it to us.
To clarify on the 4 claims you listed, are you going to file on those 4 claims?
We absolutely are going to file on those 4 claims.
You just haven't decided it's going to be federal court or...
We're leaning towards state court, but we'll see.
If they release the report, would you then maybe reconsider the lawsuit, or?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, we've always been,
That's
and
the
Chris
whole
can, yeah, we've from day one indicated that Chris has no inclination, no desire to be involved in litigation with the Vikings. In fact, we thought this case was all wrapped up because we were working in terms of a settlement agreement with the Vikings, which was going to be in concert with the release of the report. And one of the terms of that was, rather than Chris taking any money, he was going to, in his name, donate $1 million from the Vikings to charities that support LGBT causes. And that's very unfortunate because that money could have done a lot of good work. But people in the beginning of this have suggested that Chris was in it for the money. He's never been in it for the money. He's not going to take any money from it, and the money is going to go to charity.
Are you guys still planning to meet with them on Thursday to discuss further steps in the investigation?
We are going to meet with them on Thursday. I have no idea what they want to talk about, but we've agreed to meet.
So if they release the report, you will still be involved presumably in some kind of settlement negotiations as well? That would still go forward?
We would like to resolve this out of court if we can.
But it needs to go beyond getting the report?
Yes, there are other terms attached.
Given your experience as a litigator, I mean, if this went to court, to trial, wouldn't this report come out?
With the what?
Wouldn't this report come out?
Absolutely. It's the first thing I'll get in the course of discovery. So I don't understand the logic myself. This is going to be made public. Chris has a right to it under the rules of evidence. And so, of course, we're going to get a copy. It's just going to be delayed for a period of time. And if I'm able, I will make it public.
Chris, if we could just ask you
Sure.
where you are thinking right now. I know that you've expressed several times that you would hope to continue playing.
Mhm.
Do you still have that hope? And what are your thoughts as you enter this skepticism?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think every football player always hopes to continue playing. It's, I can still go out on the field and punt it 45 yards outside the numbers with good hang time, so my physical skills are still there. I think writing the Deadspin piece ensured that I probably will never play in the NFL ever again, but I felt that this was something important that needed to come out, and if that's the price I have to pay, then that's the price I have to pay. I mean, when all's said and done, this is a children's game, and there are things that are more important than a children's game.
What do you, Mr. Kluwe, hope people would learn if they were able to go through the whole report and kind of see the allegations and black and white?
Just seeing the type of culture that can arise if you're not aware of it, if you're not aware of why discrimination is bad, if you're not aware of why using certain words and phrases can harm someone you might not even know is there. And it's very important for us to understand that, because like I said, this is not just something that happened within the Vikings workplace environment. This is something that happens within thousands of workplace environments. And as a country, we need to change that because it is harmful to a lot of people.
What were some of the reasoning they were giving behind the 7-month delay? I mean, I'm sure you guys
Heck if I know.
Difficulty getting witnesses, having to, scheduled, having to repeat interviews with witnesses. Obviously, we know, from what I understand, Prefer 3 times. Finally, he told the truth in the end.
They interviewed Prefer 3 times?
That's my understanding.
And how do you know this?
I've been provided information as the investigation's been going on.
Chris, can you explain some of the comments regarding religion that Coach Prefer made to you?
Yeah, he said you'll burn in hell with the gays. Said Jesus is your only savior. Some were delivered mockingly, some weren't. Some could have been, hey, he's trying to get a rise out of me. Some very much felt like, okay, yeah, he's saying something that he means. And, it just felt inappropriate in a way that as they went on, it went beyond simple, this is locker room stuff, trying to get a rise out of someone.
Did any of this occur before it became public, that your advocacy became public, or did this all occur after your advocacy became very public?
It all occurred after my advocacy became public. It was a complete shift in pattern of behavior. Before that, it was